evening, and it's really it will be very nice to listen from sir. So first of all, I request our Vice Principal Maharaj Swami Vedanuragananda to kindly deliver the welcome address. Maharaj, kindly.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Respected Dr. NARAYAN Chandra SAHA, former Deputy Director, DVC Forest, respected teachers, respected participants and students who have assembled here for today's workshop on opportunities and scopes in forest services in India, an orientation and career counseling program on this broad issue. So I welcome you all to today's career counseling program. Most of the participants are mainly from the biological sciences background. So often they aspire to go for forest services. However, without a proper orientation and without a proper guidance, so without that, an aspiration is often left unfulfilled. So only with proper guidance and proper orientation and proper methodical preparation can one succeed in such endeavors. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Narayan Chandra Saha with us today, and he will definitely, by his long drawn wisdom and experience in this field, enlighten all of us regarding this issue, and it will highly benefit us. So on behalf of the college, on behalf of Revered Principal Maharaj, on behalf of all the teachers, on behalf of the Department of Zoology, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahara, I welcome sir to today's program. This is a DBT Star College stream program where we have organized various types of activities to promote higher studies, research and job opportunities in biological sciences from the Department of Zoology, and we hope that this program will also be very beneficial, and I request all the participants to actively interact with sir if you have any queries after sir's presentation. Thank you sir for giving us time from your busy schedule and for enlightening us. So I welcome Dr. Saha on behalf of the college, and on behalf of the college I express our heartfelt gratitude and sincere respect and regards to sir for coming here online, for sharing your ideas. Thank you sir very much. I welcome you sir, and I welcome all the participants and all the teachers who have arranged this program and all the staff members who are there. So with these few words, I welcome you all again. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Now I request Dr. Ajay Mullik of the Zoology Department to introduce our honorable guest to the audience. Dr. Ajay Mullik, please.
Thank you, Shubham. A very good evening to all dear participants. Our Vice Principal, Swami Vedanuragananda ji, Maharaj, Arunabu Mukherjee sir, and all faculty members. It's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Narayan Chandra Saha, our today's speaker. Dr. Saha graduated from Burdwan University with MSc in Zoology in 1982. He received PhD in Zoology from the same university. His area of specialization is entomology. He acquired various professional training on forestry, fisheries, sericulture. He discovered one genus and 34 new species of dipteran insects. He published near about 18 research articles in national and international journals. He is an eminent administrator as well as an academician. He successfully performed various administrative duties in DVC, namely Senior Range Officer, Assistant Forest Officer, Soil Conservation Officer. Finally, he has been promoted to Deputy Director and Nodal Officer in Forestry and Fisheries, DVC. Besides his administrative duties, he also carried out his teaching proficiencies as lecturer forestry, Soil Conservation Training Center, Hazaribagh. He is presently engaged in various teaching activities as resource person, and he received various awards and recognitions from various organizations. He received Best Employee Award from DVC. And there are many more, but I just concluded here. I hope his today's deliberations will encourage you to prepare for the job opportunities in forest services. Thank you. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. And good evening to all participants. And hope I am audible to you. I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Swamiji, namaskar, namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar, sir.
Pranam,
Namaskar,
Reverend. This is the Bengali feelings, na? Before the puja, we are get together
Yes.
here and exchange our idea. It is a formal webinar, and nothing special issue, nothing technical issue, but the subject is related with the technical things. That's why I come to in some technical portion. However, thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Swami Vedanurangananda Maharaj, Vice Principal and DBT Coordinator of the Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahora. Thank you, Dr. Ajay Malik, convener of this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Arunabha Mukherjee, Departmental Coordinator of Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahora, and other faculty members who are organizing this course, and dear my participant students. Thank you for giving the opportunity and inviting me as a speaker to deliver the talk. And I hope this discussion will be an interesting and informative one for the student. And let's begin. Now, actually, what happens? And this is the wonderful introduction given by the Dr. Malik regarding me. I am not such a big man, but in my from my student life and up to my service career, I have met with the several persons, even in the students and in the professional students, even in the professional service peers. When I joined after completion of my degree, when I joined just after completion of the degree, and next day I joined in the service. After joining in the service, I see some of the faces of the rural village, and I thought they have the need my service, and I try to understand their worlds, and dedicatedly I involved, and honestly I discharge my services, and through them I am learned lot of things in various aspects of the natural resources. Almost all the practical fields of the geology and the botany I covered in my service period, and I learned lot of things from the rural peoples, because they have the traditional knowledge. That knowledge, three-decade knowledge, now today I want to share with my students. So now I am presenting my PPT and share the screen, please. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall I get in the full slideshow mode,
Yes, sir.
or
Yes, sir,
in the
you
small
may.
slide? Full slideshow mode. Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. So you see the first slide. So India is a diversified country, because due to the various climatic conditions, India having so much of the climate, starting from the rainfall, desert, mountains, seaside, coastal side, so all type of the climatic conditions are available in our country. So India is a very diversified country, and so many of diversified forests are present in our country. And we must proud that we receive such type of the defined types of the forest, starting from the alpine and subalpine forest, and then temperate forest, then tropical forest, then the subtropical forest, then littoral and swampy forest in the Sundarban area and Gujarat area, even in the Andaman area. And in Andaman, you can see the Dipterocarpus forest is there. And you can see in the Western Ghat, there is the Shola forest. In the Nilgiri Hills, there is a peculiar type of the forest, Shola forest. The fauna is also something defined in the Western Ghats. And eastern region, there is a vast forest of the tropical forest, and the subtropical forest is there. Even in the Himachal, you can go see in the Simla is the rainforest. You can see the temperate forest is also there. And in our central part of the India, you can see the dry deciduous type of the forest, because their rainfall is very less in the particularly in the Chhattisgarh and this MP areas and the Bihar part of the Bihar also. And you can see the desert also in the Rajasthan area. So India is a very peculiar in condition, and that's why it receives so many of the climatic condition, and ultimately various types of the forest are present. So India has the long tradition of conservation of the natural resources. All the communities inside the forest are dependent upon the forest resources and use their natural resources for their livelihood, and the symbiotic relationship they have developed, and thus creating a unique environmental harmony. So you see, this is one type of the forest. Can you guess where is that location of this area? Can anybody guess, please? This is the special type of the forest. You can you know. Hello. So this is the forest of the in the Meghalaya, Mau Phalang forest. This is the monolithic rocks is there. You know, in eastern India, there is a very quite a good number of the forest is there. This is the forest. It belongs to the Meghalaya states. This name is the Mau Phalang district. So India, it is believed that the God present in the inside of the forest, where the lonely place and calm and quiet and peace is there. So forest represent not only the spiritual entity, but are also support the valuable gene pools, and where the foresters having the very crucial role for conservation of this aspect. And also with the foresters, the local peoples and the tribal peoples and the forest dwellers who are residing there inside the forest area, they are conserving of the natural resources through generation after generation. And that is the natural heritage, and this is our traditional beliefs, and we are also conserving the forest. But our condition of the forest is deteriorating day by day. So today I want to discuss regarding some opportunities and the scope of services in environment, forest and climate change in India. So not only in the forestry sector, core sector, but also even in the environmental sector and climatic change. Actually, what happens earlier, the ministry is a forest ministry, but after that, 1984, the department has become a Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So there's a vast scopes are keeping in that field. So on these topics today, I will discuss with the students, and definitely students will be they will be benefited. And particularly, I discuss the scope of the services with special reference to the core sector in the forestry. Okay, I have given my address and names. Please, students, feel free. And when you need any support regarding that service, at least for in the preliminary stage, you can keep contact. I have given the number, you can contact with me. So next. So you see, it is my indeed pleasure to me and proud moment to deliver the talk on the forest aspect. Particularly, this is the week of the Wildlife Week. So you in the Wildlife Week, there throughout the India, so many programs are performing, and I also participate in that some programs 2 days back. And this October 4th to October 9th is the Wildlife Weeks. And so we start with the small video films. You can enjoy first with that video show. That is the show of the Jaldapara sanctuary. In the this video you can see. Sorry. Please enjoy this video. This one-horned rhinoceros. This snap has been taken by one of my students during the professional training period. How the kids are moving with their mother in the one-horned rhinoceros in the Jaldapara sanctuary. So we must aware of that. This is our natural heritage, and we must conserve these things. This is the beauty of the forest. So you see, they are also seeing, the wildlife also seeing us. We are observing. So humans are the part of the nature. But what happens? Our resources day by day going to be extinct, and they are in the vulnerable stage. That's why the role of the forester is very, very, very crucial. Generally, what happens? The forest people starts their works where the other peoples are ends. The civilian peoples where they ends from where the forest peoples are start their journey. So it is a very challenging job. It is a very challenging job. So before that, today I want to discuss all these things on the 3 aspects. First is the natural resource. Second is the scope of the service in the forestry sector. And third one is the training in the professional training in the forestry. That is a very vital, very vital. If you go to the forestry training, then you can accustom, then you know what is forestry. So this is very crucial. Before entering the service, we have to go to for the forestry trainings. Then you can gain your confidence. So now, one by one, I am coming. So what is the natural resources? So this is the natural resources. That means what are the natural things are available surrounding us. That is the flora, fauna, water, soil, air, rocks, minerals. Everything is the natural resources. And these are all natural resources are the government properties. These are all government properties. There is no question of the private ownership. So naturally, when it comes under the government, it is the common property right. Okay, it is the common property right. So there is the limitations of the common property right. So resource is limited, and your population is increasing. Cattle population is going to be increasing. So we should be manipulate the common property resources very, very crucial way, and on the sustainable basis also. And these things actually have to be controlled with some officers or some by the regulation. I will come later on one by one by the laws also. So when the common property right becomes a resource, then finally and collectively it affects the natural resources. When it becomes a common, then ultimately it comes the finally and collectively affect the natural resources. Okay, so the natural resources is always being the challenging also. The management of natural resources always being is the challenging also. So now I come to the next scope of service in the forestry sectors. So this is the photographs in the Uttarakhand area and nearby the Dehradun forest area. This is the forest personals. They are underwent for the training. They are moving towards the forest. This is the Rajaji National Parks. You see the forest floors with the cover with the dry leaves. Even you can touch any forest produce inside the forest. not only the not the flora and fauna, even you can't touch the other forest produce also, that is the leaves, twigs, and other things also. And that is the resources of the forest that we have to manage, because ultimately these dry fallen leaves ultimately produce the organic matters, and when it comes in the contact of the water, it goes to the inside of the forest, it deposited and it forms the organic matter. So this is the resources, they develop the soils also. So in the next slide, you see the natural beauty of the forest. This is the beyond the imagination, beyond it is the natural forest beyond the beauty. So the first photographs is the Himachal Pradesh area. Here the terrain is very steep, only mountains. You see the only mountains are there, and this is the ridge areas of the mountains, and this is the snow area. This is the temperate type of the forest here. And you see this enclave of these ridges, the forest comes up in at the time of the growth of the soil, the forest also comes up very nicely. And this forest is not at all created in a single day. It's a long days required for creation of the one rainforest. So very long time is required for creation of the forest. So this is the beauty of this forest, natural beauty of the forest. And another, this is the valley of flowers, where the alpine and subalpine area is started, more than 10,000 feet. This the alpine forest is there. There the snow is very common, and foggy weather, rainfall is very common. There is the rain type of the forest, evergreen rain type of the forest, and leaves are almost a coniferous in type. This type of the forest you can see in the valley of flowers. So this is the two areas from which you can understand what are the natural resources available in our country. So next, this is the one patch of photo of the natural forest. So you see in the natural forest, this is in hilly regions. What happens? You are looking, this is the natural forest, and this is the bamboo species, Arundinaria falcata species. This is under this species, so many species, the Lycopodium, Cellularilla comes as a, when the moisture content supports and temperatures also support, this species also comes inside the area. So this is the rocks and mineral rocks, and these are all the boulders also there. And you see, this is the 20 meter long poles that are fallen inside the forest year after year. So what happens when the rainfall occurs in the high altitude? The waters, due to the percolations and infiltrations, and after the seepage, it comes down toward the downward movement, and through the pores of these logs and the fiber tissue, and in the small pores, this forms the streamlets, and ultimately the streamlets forms, and this drop the waters in a small ditches. This is called the small water harvesting structure in downstream side. After that, from that again it forms different streamlets, and it goes to the different rivulets, and ultimately it goes to the big river, and ultimately it meets in the ocean. This is the water cycle. So forest is so such, forest helps the whole the catchment area to conserve the moisture and water also. So in due time, when the infiltration, if the forest depend, the forest is good, then infiltration capacity will be more, then percolation capacity will be more, and surface runoff will be less. What happens in the Kerala? You know, the Kerala is sometimes the flood occurs. It is due to the deforestations and devoid of the forest in that area. So many mining operation is there, so many fragmentation is there, habitat loss is there. That's why the area is denuded, and that's time the surface flow is more, and that's why the area becomes a very flat. If the forest covers is good, then there is a little chance of the flood. So these are the natural resources along with us. This natural resources, the rocks, this is minerals, soil, water, air, and others are the forest flora and fauna. So these are the things. And after that, what happens? So this is the another two pictures. This is the vulnerable species. So can you guess anybody what is that species? Have anybody seen this one? Okay. Hello, I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is
Yes,
the
sir.
one type of the forest trees also. This is called the Actinotyphon lawsonia. You know the lawsonia trees. This is the very vulnerable species as per the IUCN list. And due to the habitat loss, this species becomes a very vulnerable in the Eastern Ghats, in the particularly the Kodagu forest and Kodagu forest in the Karnataka. This species rarely you can see that species in the Kodagu forest in the Karnataka in Eastern Ghats. So we have this is the natural heritage. We have to conserve these medicinal plants. Otherwise, our next generation will not get benefit from that plant. So this is the Actinotyphon lawsonia. You can see when you can go to the Western Ghats after joining in the service, you can see that one is there is the lawsonia species, Actinotyphon lawsonia. And this is another species. This is the Erythrina kistigulina. You know the mother trees, Erythrina indica. There is a red flower trees. But this is Erythrina kistigulina. You can see this species in the Uttarakhand areas, particularly in the Dehradun areas. You see the petal. You see the petals are so thick. It is a look like of the beak of the parrot. Beak of the parrot. This is very uncommon species and very much attractive species. I have collected this photo in front of the Dehradun airports, and you can see in the Uttarakhand area this type of the species. This name of the species is Erythrina kistigulina, like of our mother trees. But this species is defined. This species is not commonly available in our places also. So in the future, you can plant this Erythrina kistigulina species or lawsonia, Actinotyphon lawsonia, one species as a sample in your colleges also for their identifications. Next, the ecosystem. What are the different type of the ecosystem services? Ecosystem services are the four types of natures. There is the provisioning services, regulating services, supporting services, and cultural services. What is provisional services? These provisional services having the tangible benefit. It has the tangible benefit. That means we are getting the immediate benefit. We are getting the shelter, clothes, and the food also. So these are the provisional services. This is the regulating service. This regulating service means this is regulation of the temperatures, because in the present global condition, climatic changes occurs due to the huge carbon emissions, and this temperature is very rising in the Antarctica also. The snow is melting. That's why rising the temperature, and the water will be increasing. So this is the regulating survey. Forest is also regulating the survey control of the temperature, and also the gaseous exchange, also the carbon dioxide, and releasing also the oxygen and the nitrogen cycle also. These are the plants and regulating the service in the ecosystem. This is the non-tangible. We are getting the non-tangible, but here we are getting the tangible, direct benefiting. We are getting benefit from the forest. Next is a supporting system. The forest is also supporting to the other systems also. The formation of the soils. The when it deposited in the inside the forest, the leaf litters and the twigs, when it is decomposed in connection with the waters, they form the different kinds of the soil and depth of the soil. So these are the things. This forest is supporting for formations of the soils also, and also the nutrient cycles. So it balances the nitrogen cycles and nutrient cells, different nutrients in the soils also. They are also supporting the services in the ecosystem. Next is the cultural services. Actually, we may know, we may not know. So, but by the history, we know this is our cultural practice. So our ancestors have developed such a cultural systems from the forest system with their beliefs and with their traditional knowledge. They have the beliefs. They have developed the cultural systems. So suppose they are arranging the fair near the forest in particular seasons. There are so many tourists that are coming and going for enjoying these systems. So that's why they are inviting also the tourism also. So this is the religious belief in that area also. You know, in the Bagmundi India, Bagmundi, in the Chotanagpur, Purulia district, that is the places in the Bagmundi. They are in the month of Posh. They are arranging such a beautiful fair. They are all the tribal peoples and other the tourists that comes to know their cultural heritage also. So there is also cultural services in the forest also. So now I am coming to our point. So scope of the careers after graduation and post-graduation. I'm considering the two things here now. One is the graduation, after is the post-graduations. So before that, matriculation is the minimum pass certificate is everybody we have. So that is another thing. But every students have a target to be a graduate or postgraduate first. So after graduation, what are the scopes you have? That we have to identify first. First, we have to discuss. After graduation, either it may be the honors or it may be the postgraduates, you are eligible for the service. In the which type of the service? Service in the state government or in the central government by the Public Service Commission or Union Public Service Commission or in the civil service examination. Or you can enter in the, you can see it in the forest service examination. There is a defined type of the forest type service examination. I'll come one by one. And you can eligible for the general services also. In general services also, railway recruitment, some other places also you can appeal for that. Then you can go for the banking sectors banking sector. Then you can go for the account service. These are the common services you can enter in that service. And then you can do the teaching service for that particular field in the teaching in primary sections and in school levels also. Then after graduation, you go in the management line. In the forest management, you can do the forest management, you can do the human resource management, you can do the other management also. And then you can go enter for the technical services or the technical section you can go. There is a scope in the Geological Survey of India and Botanical Survey of India. And in the fisheries sectors also, there is a technical services in there after graduation with the particular field of the subject. And then after that also, you can got an opportunity to a human resource development. So graduation is the basic degree from where you can enter any type of the service. But some students have entered in the post-graduation degree for higher qualifications. So in that case, they got some special opportunities, that is the research jobs. And another job is the ARS. That is the full form is Agriculture Research Service. When it becomes the agriculture background, you can go for the Agriculture Research Service. Even if you have the entomology special paper, you can go for the Agriculture Research Service, but on the particular field of the entomology. But when you have the fisheries background, you can enter for the Agriculture Research Service on fisheries, the fisheries sector. Then you can go for the civil services also. For the civil service, the graduate and both postgraduate can be entitled for the civil service examination. Then forest service also. Forest service, they are eligible, both the graduate and the postgraduate students are eligible for the forest services. Then after graduations also, they say then you can apply some research institute also. In some technical post, Indian Council of Forestry Research, you can apply in the Technical Forest Research Institute. Wildlife Institute, you can go for the wildlife research. Basic qualification required the MSc. Kerala Forest Research Institute, you can eligible for that. You can eligible for the DRDO, Defense and Research Development Officer, Defense and Research Development Organizations under the Ministry of Defense. And then you can go for the professorship in the college and university level as a lecturer. Then you will also with another technical officers also in the so many faculties also, fisheries and some other places, Central Silk Board services. There is in the sericulture, you can got an opportunity. But for the scientist post, you have to require for PhD degree. When you appear for any type of the scientist post, either in IC, Indian Council of Forestry Research, Wildlife Research Institute, and Agriculture, you need the background of the PhD degree. Next. So I'm a little bit want to touch regarding some PhD. So what happens, an average PhD students in India, what they feels after completion of the post-graduation degree, their age attains nearly 22 or 23 lifetime, like that. That time they are eligible for the service also, but getting the service is very difficult. That's why some students are thinking whether shall I join in the PhD course or shall I try for the service. So should I join for the PhD for time pass? And again they are in dilemma. Shall I try for a job, searching for a job, then preparing for the PSC exam, NEET exam? These are the question arises in front of the students. And then chatting also, and helping the guides after completion of the master degree. They are helping the guides, and they are helping also the MSc student in their dissertation writing. Well, because they think we are the smart and helping the others problem, no self propulsions. Then in simultaneous, when they attain the 24 or 25 like that, then they think the young start also thinking regarding the marriages also. And then they think, should I leave from the PhD or join in the service? These are the common things comes in form of the PhD students after post graduations. So after what happens after entering in the PhD streams, what an average PhD students thinks, and they raw after entering the PhD, they are used to write the proposal for institutional bursaries, for grant of the funds, grant support they need, because the finance is required. So support is required, financial support is required. They cannot ask for the money from the parents because they are in their mid age. So young generation want to earn money. So for that they need the support, for the monetary support. For that they are applied for the institute for bursaries, for the grant of money, and taking the teaching assistance from the with the running PhD course. They are doing the teaching jobs, and they earn the money also. So, and simultaneously they are rotating from one lab to another lab and developing the hypothesis of the research. So when you move from one lab to another, then you can develop your hypothesis of the research, capability of thinking power will be developed, and which line is good for you. Then the same time they are also thinking the marriage and co-living. So for the PhD you need the another 3 years or 4 years. So during time they are also in dilemma also. Then they at that time they are very self-centric. They are very self-centric with their orientations, and they try to develop the labs and web pages also. And when they get the any vacation, and they for their hobbies, they used to travel some other place and pass out the weekend. This is the average students of the PhD's mentality. So now I am coming our subject. So forest and the natural resources. So before we go to the scope of the surface, we must know something little about the forest, and what is forest produce, what is forest land. This is what is Indian Forest Act, what is National Forest Project, that you have to know. So what is forest? Forest are the dynamic ecosystem consisting of the plants and animals and the microorganisms, this safeguarding the ecological security of the nations. The forest provides the carbon neutral timbers. The forest provides the carbon neutral timber. So, and non-timber products like the medicines, grasses, and other ecosystem services, which are essential for survival of the human beings. So ultimately, we the human beings are totally depend upon the forests for our livelihood. So we must protect this forest, otherwise we will be vanished from our planet. So forest is the natural resources. This is the main natural resources, and government having the only property right of this forest. No private forest should be there. No private ownership forest is there. The government is the monopoly of the government. Government is the custodian of the forest. So everybody should protect these natural resources. So now we are coming in the technical forestry terms. In the Govardhan case, in the Supreme Court writ petition number 2002 by 95 defined the forest and forest land. Forest shall be an area recorded as forest in the government record. In the government, the area should be as a forest. It should be recorded irrespective of the ownership. So without any ownership, it should be notified in the act, that is the forest area. It should be notified. Or area having the forest as understood in the dictionary sense, or in the dictionary meaning what the forest is called. The forest is a large area covered with the trees and undergrowth, sometimes intermingled with the pasture. So that means whole the flora and the fauna with their trees and their undergrowths and with the pasture also. That means all the herbs, shrubs, tree species and the pasture is combinedly formed, the intermingly form a forest. Okay. So this is the Oxford Dictionary meanings. Next, what happens? The state government of Madhya Pradesh very clearly defined the forest area. It's the forest land. What is forest land? All the recorded and the notified forest lands are the forest lands. All the recorded and notified forest lands in the government notification, that becomes the forest land. And in otherwise it may be defined areas more than 10 hectares having the trees. Area having the more than 10 hectare area and those having the trees, that is the forest land, which cover more than 200 number of trees per hectare. So per hectare there should be a tree of minimum tree should be 200 hectares, but it should be a notified forest area. So you see how unique is there, forest land is unique is there. Now I am coming a little bit, I am entering in the forestry topics. That's why I use that term. What is forest produce? Forest produce are the two types. Either it is found in the forest or it is may not found in the forest. That means it is brought from the forest or it is may not brought from the forest, but it is a forest produce. So how you assume this timbers and the logs? It is not inside the. It is the photograph in the campus on some big building, but it is the forest produce. Everybody knows it is a forest. It is a forest because it is a tree species, so it is a forest produce. And other than that, some wild parts also. There the skins and the horns. Also, this is the nails, skulls, and this is the twigs also, and the roots also, and some oil also. These are also the forest parts. Even in the bamboos are also bamboo, and the canes are also in the forest parts. So government is the custodians of the forest produce. Nobody can use that things without any permission, proper permission. If you keep the forest produce, if you can caught, you will be imprisonment. So that power has been given to the forest officer to lodge a case against that person who kept any forest produce inside the campus. So this is the definition of the forest produce. So now I am coming, who is the forest officer? That is important. Who is the forest officer? A forest officer is a unique officer. It means any person whom the government may appoint to carry out the all or any type of the purpose of this act. What is that act? As Indian Forest Act. So forest officer means any person whom the government has deployed, government has appointed to carry out all or any of the purpose of this act, Indian Forest Act, or to do anything required by this act or any rules. They are the forest officers. So very clear definitions is their forest officers. So government is appointed the forest officers. Government is the custodians of the forestry, and government is the authority to appoint the forest officers and who can rule out the inside the forest. But the definitions of the forest terms are a little bit nowadays actually differ. In broader sense, when the environmental issues that comes in our country, it is the bigger issues. Then the terms of the forest is widening. There's the border in sense. So what it is, apart from the being designated only as a forest officer, apart from being designated only as a forester, the term is required to be broadened or specified according to the work performed in various sectors, like if any industrial units, or may be designated as a environmental officer. So suppose in the industrial sector, so many industrial sectors has been established in the non-forest land also, and the big industries like the thermal power station, steel factory is also there, ITC company is there, and cement factory is there, and there is also an environmental officer. They may be the background of the engineer, they may be the background of the environmental science, but they are the environmental. But the environmental officer also empowered as also the forest officer. And this broadening the things of the environmental officer also treated as a forest officer, and this will tend to bring the attitudinal change. This is the very important attitudinal change. This will tend to bring the attitudinal change among the persons as well as in the industrial units. So in industrial units, when the environmental officer can enforce the law of the forest law, so automatically the other industrial people's industrial unit, they obey the environmental officers, because the power has having with him to enforce the peoples, to enforce in the area who has disturbed the forest area. So the forest officer term is nowadays it is widening and is given the power to the environmental officers also. So now in the second part we are coming. Why you choose the forest service in your career? See, my students, this is a very challenging jobs, and this service is very close to the nature. Is a very close to the nature. I already told, forest department starts in such an area where the general and civil peoples are ends. So this job is very challenging. So we are also the frontline servicer. The foresters are also in the frontline services in the forestry, because they are facing the wildlife also, and the come and quiet also, even in the poacher also, smuggler also, even in the tribal peoples also. So they are the frontline services, like of the police, like of the medical services. And it is a very than that of the other service, it is a very adventurous service and very challenging service. I will show you some pictures later on, then you can understand. Then you can get the chance noting the uncommon observation inside the forest, in the nature, and thereby you have the scope of publication. You can observe some very rare thing inside the forest. If you can notice this observation, if you can keep the data, if you can try to describe yourself, then one day will come, it becomes a very good articles, and then you go for the natural publications. Okay. Then you can get an opportunity documentation of natural observation. That is important for the research work, the documentation, because you have some the data also, you have some the idea also, you have some observation, but no documentation. So when you give the scopes, the forester used to take the photo, keep the photo for the documentation, for their proof. In the thesis work, three type of the documentation is essential. No, you see, first is the data collection. That is the another data collection is also a one documentation. Then your photography is the another documentation, and then your is a hand drawing is also another documentation. Nowadays, actually, your superimposed and digital camera also comes, but earlier days the documentation by hand drawing is sufficient for proving the things, natural things, and with the data also. But now we can get the opportunity for digital documentation also. Next, in another things, you can exploring the new things from the virgin areas, the untouched areas, where you can do for the taxonomic reporting. You can identify the different types of the flora and fauna inside the forest. So many things are unexplored. You can explore and you can do for the taxonomic report. Ultimately, when you can gather this knowledge and you arrange these things, and one day's hobbies can be developed and give you the PhD degree. also from the university. But you have to arrange sequence only. Sequence. And this forest also, you also can give the safeguard to the right of the tribal peoples. That is the very important right of the tribal people, those who are residing inside the forest. They are the tribal peoples and the forest dwellers. They are dependent on the forest, and you have to give the right to the forest. Earlier, the forest department not giving the right to the tribal peoples, but from the 2006, a law is enacted where you have to give the right to the tribal peoples to use their non-timber forest produce. So simultaneously, they will protect the forest also. So being a forester, being the forest officer, you have to give the safeguard to the tribal peoples also. And you can get automatically, you can get an opportunity to know the indigenous knowledge. The tribal peoples having some knowledges, this indigenous knowledge. Now this indigenous knowledge that pharmaceutical companies are using, they're using the roots and fibers of the flora, forest flora, and they're making the medicines and herbal medicines and the cosmetic products also. They are knowing from the tribal peoples, and ultimately they are collecting these twigs and those roots also, and they're going for the medicine productions. So you have the opportunity to know the indigenous knowledge from the tribal peoples. And then ultimately, you can get an opportunity for conservations of our natural heritage, different types of the forest and the natural heritage which we have in the country, and ultimately the biodiversity, that is the gene pool. Now, is it all right? You are getting interest? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
Hello, it is interesting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Continue.
the forest officers power to exercise to define that. The forest officers are the only officers who can exercise this side of the act. So Indian Forest Act 1927, this act is enacted in our country in the year of 1927. Then the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, very stringent act in 1972. The police department can also start the criminal procedures, but only the forest personnel, forest officers can lodge the FIR and lodge the cases in case of the wildlife cases, wildlife protection case, criminal activity in the wildlife cases. Even that police officers do not get an opportunity to enforce the law of the wildlife protection. Only the forest officers can enforce the law, execute the law of the Wildlife Protection Act 19, a very stringent act. Next, Forest Conservation Act 1980. This is the blaze of the forest department. This is the blaze of the forest department. Actually, this act is initiated by late our Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. He is the very nature lovers. He is the love the forest, and he has done the she's the first man who can thought for the forest or the first Prime Minister who can thought for the forest also. And that time he is introduced the Forest Conservation Act. It is the blaze of the forest department. In this forest conservation is the very stringent act also. In that act, it has been defined, without the permission of the central government, no state government can hand it over any land for non-forestry purpose. If any forest officer or any government can hand it over any land, forest land, for non-forestry purpose to any industries, they will be punished. They will be imprisonment for the 6 months, even the fine up to ₹1 lakh rupees. The very stringent, very short act. Only the 6 sections are there in the Forest Conservation Act, but very stringent act is there. This is the blaze of the forest department, and forest department ultimately said, even if any forest officer can hand it over this forest land for the non-forestry purpose also, he will be the punished. In that act, the provision is keeping here. Even in the industry also, if they encroach the area, they will punished also, and they will punished also given to the forest person who is intentionally handed over this land to the non-forestry purpose. Next, after the Bhopal tragedy, 1986, the Environmental Protection Act also come into the enforce. That act is called as the Environmental Protection Act 1986. This law is particularly the in environmental department or the industrial areas and the thermal power station and other factories also. But sometimes the forest department also enact this Environmental Protection Act in 1986. Then with the evolution, when they thought our biological resources is very going to be extinct, then it has been thought that another act is required, that is the Biological Diversity Act 2002 come into the actions in the year of 2002. And after that, you have to give the right to the forest peoples, forest tribal peoples. They will be vanished also. They will be cut the forest. They will enjoy the forest. So that's why the right is given. The forest right is given to the tribal peoples, and another act is enforced in that year of 2003. That is called Forest Act. So these are the 6 acts. So the forest officers are the kings of the forest area or natural resources area where the forest remains. So by this act, you can understand what the forest officer is. Next. So forest department starts the works from the at the end of the civilian work, and even they can work in the borderline area of the country also. So they are the pride for the nation. They are giving the discharge their service, discharge with the threat of the lives also, with the threat of the lives of from the poachers, from the criminals, even in the wildlife also, they are doing the service. They are the pride of the nations. And these are the lady officers, the young lady officers, 7 lady officers recently passed out from the Caspos College. They are taking the oath on the 15th August. They are ready for the forest services, and they are the pride for the nations. They are the pride for the nation. They are protecting themselves. They are protecting the natural forest, and they are giving the better environment to the all peoples. So they are the pride for the nations. So now I am coming regarding the adventures and the challenges moment. So this is the photographs, 2 photographs during the probationary periods of the forester trainings. This is the forester trained personals, and this is the SFS boys are there. They goes inside the forest. This is the what type of the forest? This one, can anybody tell what is the type of the forest? If anybody having the idea? Okay, this is the savanna type of the forest, grassland, savanna type of the forest. This is the grasses are there. These the deep grasses are there, and the area is very sensitive to soil erosion also. No? When the rainfall comes, the grasses will come up, and after that again dry up. So these forest peoples are exploring this area also to identify the area also and the wildlife also. So this is the very adventurous and the challenging moment. Nobody can go inside that area. Na? Only the forest peoples, only the tribal peoples can get the entry, can go to the inside the forest for manipulations of the forest. So that's why this is the very challenging and adventurous. Even you have to go for the trekking in some places. If you go to the Valley of Flowers, you have to take the 13-kilometer years from the Govinda Ghat area to up to Gangria, and Gangria, then you can go to the Valley of Flowers, or these are trekking journey years. Only the forest peoples and the few general peoples can go there to enjoy the forest. So this is the area is totally protected. Generally, forest area is totally protected, and reserved areas are there. So you need the permission to go inside. Now I am coming regarding the biodiversity, little bit about the biodiversity. So the biodiversity, everybody know, you the students of the geology, and some maybe from the chemistry and physics background. That's why I want to emphasize the little bit about the biodiversity of the earth. So in the biodiversity of the whole, the plants and animals species are called the 5 to 10 million species. But this is identified to 5 to 10 million species. But up to how much species remains in our planet. It may be 30 million, it may be the 100 million. We don't know how much species remains in our planet, and till date it is exploding, and so many things are pending for exploding. So total identified species identified in the world so far is the 1.77 million species. Out of these, 70% are animal and 22% of the plants. And out of 1 million animals, 75% species are belong to the insect. Insect means those having the 3 pairs of legs. And in the higher plant, 248,000 are the higher plants are in the remains in the till noted in the forest flora, and the 69,000 fungi is reported so far. So ultimately, what happens now? Species extinction. You know, from our country, cheetah was extinct in the year of 1948. Cheetah was last seen in the year of 1948. Then species is extinct. When it goes, due to the poachers, due to the pressure, this species becomes extinct. Because these skins are so valuable. The earlier people used to keep the skins inside the house, so that's why they are hunting the animal. That's why cheetah is extinct in the from our country in the year of 1948. So species extinction is very common in our universe also. 1 million species is already extinct, and 150 species per day it is going to be extinct, and total 50,000 species extinct per year. So nearly 2,000 to 2 billion species nearly 2 million species will be extinct in the next decade. Next coming decades, in the next 30th century, 2 million species will be extinct. So 50% species, among them 50% will be the insect. So insect populations are very higher. Why? You know, when the temperature will be raised and it support the moisture content also, the automatically insect population will be more. And till date, so many insect species is required to be explored and untouched. And see how the species extinction is going on, and that's why our Mother Earth is crying. So what will be the fate of the planet? So the biodiversity of the India. So 8% of the world biodiversity in India remains in India. That is the 2.4% of the land masses. The 5,000 bacteria, 1,000 viruses, 31,000 pathogens, and 45,000 species of the plant, 91,000 species of the animals. So here you should note these things. In India, the 18% are the human populations and 18% are the cattle population. These two populations cause the tremendous pressures on the forest. This is the grazing. Grazing is the problem, and it creates the nuisance. It creates the pressures on the forest also. And due to the grazing pressure and the deforestation, our present forest percentage of our country is the 21% as per the Forest Survey of India and for census reports. The forest department is also facing huge biotic pressure and ultimately needs to be conserved. Otherwise, our existing forest 21% will be vanished. So this is another photograph of the Arizona flower. You know, this is the spathy. This is not the flower. This is the modification, and this is the covering of this is the spadix called. Inside that is the stigma. So you see, there is a peculiar combination with that plant also, the beetle flies also. When the beetle this influences comes on now, these beetles are coming and beetles are going inside the stigma, and when it going inside the stigma, it carries the spores and it ultimately fertilized and it goes to the stigma, and ultimately latter state it forms the fruits. So how beautiful it is you can see only in the nature. This is the spathy and this is the spadix, and this is the fruits you can see only in the forest. In the evergreens of the forest, in the ground flora, you can see. So Now I am coming India's position. India is one of the 17 mega biodiversity countries in the world. Of the 34 globally identified biodiversity hotspots, India harbored the 4 spots. Everybody, you have learned the ecosystem and the wildlife also. The one is the Himalayan regions, another is the Indo-Burman regions, and another is the Western Ghat and the Sri Lankan regions, and another is the Sunderland also, the southeastern region by the Onedo and Java and Indonesia. This is the lowland areas, and ultimately it becomes now raised, and it support the peculiar hotspot also. And India having a 104 national park and 551 wildlife sanctuaries. So by this number and by this 104 and this 500, you can understand what is the scope of the services in the forest. 551 wildlife sanctuaries present in India and 104 national parks. In one national park, at least the 50% people are required to protect the area. So you then calculate the number of the person required for protect the forest. So there is another 51 tiger reserves in our country, and 88 conservation reserves is present in our country, and 127 community reserves in our country. So there is a vast scope in the forestry sectors, in the services for the young generations. There is a scope to join, to discharge your services in the forestry sectors. So next. So when I come to the biodiversity, I must show this slide. Now, this is the peculiarity. So this is the Renuka Sanctuary. It is in Himachal Pradesh. This is the famous sanctuary. You see, this is the enclave of the forest, and this is the ridge line, this is the ridge line, and all the water coming down downwards, and ultimately it goes through the one rivulets. So this is the Renuka Sanctuary. You see, and this is the pictures like a one sleeping lady. This is the one sleeping lady. This flow of the river is like a sleeping lady. But in the sanctuary area, what happens? You see, this is the lines of the roads have been constructed inside the forest area and inside the water bodies. And what happens after construction of the roads? Now this area becomes a disturbed. How it disturbed? There is the one turtles, paper turtles is there. They used to take the shelter in the water bodies. And during the breeding season, what happened? These turtles are going to the inside the forest for laying their eggs. But when they get the obstruction of the road, they used to come inside, just in front of the roads, and they lay the eggs. What happened? Due to the human interference, human beings are going inside the forest in the early morning. They says that it is the blaze of the god. It is the blaze of these eggs are the blaze of the god. That's why they are disturbing the eggs and destroyed the eggs. And ultimately, the population of the turtle is day by day reducing and going to be extinct. And here is the challenge of the foresters to conserve these things. So in the Renuka forest, Renuka sanctuary, so many foresters, they are trying day and night to protect these turtles also. When in the breeding season they used to come, and then that time the forest department doing the dug out the soils and make it small holes, and there now the turtles are coming and lays their eggs, and after hatching, the forest department releasing the turtles inside the forest or inside the waters. So you see how the challenges are facing our wildlife. And here is the task is the forest department peoples, the foresters, to conserve our natural heritage, our natural fauna and the flora in the sanctuary area. So next. So you feel bored, or shall I continue? It is all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is interesting. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello, pardon, please. Hello. Shall I go for the timeline development of the Indian forest history? So before you entered in the forestry sector, you should know a little bit about the Indian forestry. Indian forest, that is the timeline development. So in the year of 1820, there is a proprietary right of in the wastelands. In the 100 years back, there is a 200 years back, there is a proprietary right only in the wastelands. After that, what happens now? And the British government thought that in the 1855, they chartered the Indian forest. So they think about the Indian forest, and then they appointed Dr. Brandeis. He's the German forester. He appointed one forest person, Dr. Brandeis, from the German government, and he is the first Inspector General of the forest in independent India. So after that, what happened in 1864, establishment of the forest department. So, hello. Achha, okay. So after that, what happened? That time our target was the revenue earning from the shalties and the ticks is the revenue earning. So that time. Next, what happens? This is the things at that time our target was the only to earn the revenue from the forest resources. After this is an historical building of the Forest Research Institute at Dehradun. This is the great building. So this is the FRI building. If you can get the opportunity, you can must see. This is the inside of the FRI building. And this is the top view of the Forest Research Institute at Dehradun. This is inside the way. This is our heritage building. This is the side view. And after what happens in the 1890, first national forest policy was made. After then, in 1927, Indian Forest Act was enacted. Okay. So then in 1970, growth of the participatory forest management, this Chipko movement comes up. Then years Arabari forest. You know the Arabari forest is in Midnapur. That is the joint forest management has been developed by the Dr. A.K. Banerjee in the Arabari Midnapur forest region. Then another is the Sukumajri project, that is the important for watershed management also. Then social forestry comes in the year of 1970. Then in 1980s, after post Bhopal case, there is a Environmental Protection Act comes out, and in the year of 1985, that means after 100 years of lapse, the creation of the separate Ministry of Environment and Forest and Government of India. There is the separate Ministry of the Environment and Forest, and there when it's created the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, there the scope of the service is more. So our principal aim is the national forestry to ensure the environmental stability and maintenance the ecological balance and creating the massive people movement. That is our principal aim. So this is the Convention of Biological Diversity. So in the Biodiversity Act, sovereign rights of the state over their biodiversity that is given. Then this Biological Diversity Act, these important things is that you have to give the fair and equitable share benefit to the tribal peoples. Then ultimately we have to think, we have to give the safeguard of the tribal people. Already I have discussed. So recognition of the Forest Right Act in the 2000. So you have to give the recognition to individual of the community rights. So ultimately they will help to protect the forest also. So you see during the evolutions of the animals, man. So in our early stage, the forest is very good forest is there. But in course of the when it becomes modernized, less number of the trees and forest is reducing. So their question is raising here, how to reconcile the right of the livelihood requirements of the locals without the right of the nation of the forest nature. Before that, it is too late. So this is the right time to think. So humans are the part of the nature, but all the things of the nature are not for humans. Man can enjoy it, but in reciprocal way, you have to conserve these things. That means the sustainable development. Here again, our role comes, the forester roles comes very crucial things. These are the national forest policy developed. This is the draft from in the 2018 the draft policy, not yet sanctioned. The more emphasis given in the urban forest area. In urban forestry, you have to create the private the forest area also, and go for the more afforestation also. So these are the object of the proposed forest policy. Next, this is the some changes is recorded in the national forestry for better environmental stability. So in the industrial, when you go for the industry, you have to think for the mandatory creation of the microclimate of the zone. What is microclimate? Microclimate means you have to create the special climate where that always that moisture will remain and the area becomes a very cool and cool nature, which support the life systems. That is called is the microclimate area. We have to create the microclimate conditions in the your industrial area also. So these are the all things of the related to the environmental sectors. Now I am coming in the scope of in the our survey. There is a scope. One is in the core sectors. It is in the notified state forest area, either in the national park, sanctuary area, as per the Indian Forest Act, either in the territorial division or in the wildlife activities and other conservation area. So they are in the core forest is the only because it is the government is the property right. So every recruitment should be through the either public service or UPSC examinations. So this is in the core sector. Now I am coming in environmental management sector, in industrial area, in urban area. Suppose the recreation, urban and recreation forest department doing that area in that area. There is a scope in the service in the urban and recreation forest. In the thermal power station, like that of the Damodar Valley area, in the earlier Damodar Valley the corporation area, having the 20 number of the post of the forest officers there, and therefore the watershed management, there is some officers also is there. So there is the scopes of the personals of the forest in the environmental sector as they do as the forest officers also. So now I am coming, what is the scope of the service in the core government sector as a forester? Now I am coming, I am not considering here the forest guard, but I am starting from the deputy forest rangers, the beat officer, deputy forester. How they are recruited? Their recruitment by the forest department by their own procedure. The minimum eligibility is the Madhyamik class 10 standard, and written examination generally arranged by the forest department on the math, English, and general knowledge. After qualifying these things, you go for the physical health and walking test and the running test. And after that, you got the selection. After selection, you go for the 11 months training at the beat officer training. That is in the respective state. In our West Bengal, Dowhill is the station where the beat officer training is going on. So beat officer is the lower, is the medium level of the post in the forest department. They are helping the forest range officer. After training, they will posted as the forest under the forest range officer in the place of the state forest department. Their work is to assist the forest range officer and joint forest management work. The scope of promotion is from the beat officer, they can go to the next promotion forest range officer, and they go for the assistant forest officer. So they are entitled to exercise the power of the forest officer. So this is the photographs, the group photographs of the 10 forest personnel beat officers from the training institutes. They underwent the 11 months training, and then now they are ready to join in their state department. Next, coming is the forest ranger officer. Forest ranger is the backbone of the forest department. So this may be called the West Bengal Forest Service cadre. Through the Public Service Commission, generally the state government recruited the forest ranger officer. General qualification requires the science graduate, engineering graduate, agricultural graduate, forest graduate, and forest management graduate. Type of selection, you have to appear for the preliminary examination of the 200 marks, and after preliminary examination, you go for the main exam of the 900 marks. So what are the subjects you can go through that? The two optional subjects you have to take, like the geology, botany, geology, physics, chemistry, environmental science, art, and carrying the 100 marks also each. After qualifying the main candidate, you call for the short interview, the personality test, and the final list will be sent to the forest department for the recruitment. After recruitment, they have to nominate for the RFO trainees. That is here it is the important. They have to go for the in-service training for 16 months training, 1.5 years training under the Forest Academy, under the Director of Forest Education, Caspos, Dehradun, Banihart, and Coimbatore. This training is very important. This they have to undergo the 18 months. There you can taught the forest survey, forest botany, forest resource management, forest utilization, silviculture, forest survey, forest engineering, remote sensing, wildlife, biodiversity, working plan, weapons training, yoga, forest laws, accounts, everything, 5,000 men, every day with the 18 months, you have to busy with all the activities. After completion of the degree, you can join in your department, in the state forest department, a particular cadre, and as a forest range officer, then you can exercise the power of the forest officers as per Indian Forest Act. and their promotional scope is that next is the assistant ADFO, additional divisional forest officer. Next is the from ADFO to DFO, divisional forest officer, nearly district head, and some may get the chance to go to the CF post also, the conservator of the post. So don't think the forest officer is posted in the very isolated place. They are the places like that of the other district officers at the subdivisional and the district level, all in the block levels. The block level range officers are generally posted in the block levels or inside the, sometimes inside the forest area. So nature of the works is the forest range officer, territorial, to manage the territorial activity, forest range, including the wildlife and other administrative works, and they are the backbone of the forest department. So they can exercise the power of the forest law and the Indian Forest Law, Forest Protection Act, and the Forest Right Act and Biodiversity Conservation Act. And this is the one batch of the forest range officers. They are underwent the 16 months training at the CASPOS Dehradun, where I used to take the class. That time I have taken the snap. Whole day they are busy with their study and some other activities, and mentally they have to attach with the forest. And after training, they are totally fit for the forest to do accept any type of the challenges also. And this is the very challenging. And in that training, we developed the candidates, the students like a good foresters. So next is, there is another scope is the assistant conservator of forest. That is called as the West Bengal Forest Service Cadre or SFS, State Forest Service Cadre. The recruitment procedure is through the Public Service Commission of the state government. General qualification, that is the science graduate, agriculture or environmental science. Even in the engineers can also appear. So my question is here, in my present tenure in the CASPOS, I have seen in the RFO course and in the SFS course, all the engineers used to come in the training. But earlier, the geology persons and the botany person and natural science background, they used to come in the forest service. But the engineers now, they are very active, and they are intellectually very high, and that's why they are occupying the space of the general students. So that my intention is, you people please try for the forest service, and you can also get the forest service if you can sincerely devote yourself like that of the engineers. You definitely can get the this type of the service. So, but you have to do your hard labor at least 1 or 2 years. So type of selection here through the preliminary examination, 200 marks on the English, general aptitude and math as per norm of the seminar. After qualifying this preliminary exam, then you will for the main exam. After giving the main exam, then you go for interview. Interview appears, and it should carry the 100 marks in the interviews. After that, you will be the final list will be sent to the forest department, and forest department then send to the in-service training, and you will get the salaries during the in-service period, and they will go for in the forest academy under the director of forest studies at CASPOS, either in the Dehradun or Barnihat or in the Coimbatore. So this is the another SFS batch. They are undergoing the training in the CASPOS Barnihat. Why I used to go there and taking the classes on the natural resource management. And this is the initial photo of the SFS batch. Please remember this photo. I can show the photo of the after completion of this batch, how smart they are within the after 2 months, 2 years period lapse of the 2. You can see how so they are the smart and fit for the forest services. So this is that they have to go this forest service period, they have to go for the 24 months. But in the range officers underwent for only 16 months. But range officers, but the state forest officers will go for the 24 months training. They have to taught all these things: forest botany, forest engineering, forest survey, all these things, and they have to cover the total 5,000 marks in the 2 years period. So after completion of this SFS training, then they are ready to go to their state department and joined as an attached officer of the DFO, and ultimately then they became the DFO. Then they got the promotion of the conservator of forest. From the conservator of forest, they will go for the chief conservator of forest. Then they will go for the additional PCC, and then from additional PCC, the go will the HOP, head of the forest force, or PCC. The posting is generally the parallel to the subdivisional level or attached to the DFO. The nature of job is to supervise the territorial activity and the look after the work of the range officers also, and they will directly contact with the range officers. They are exercise the power of the forest officer as per norm of the Indian Forester. So state forest service officers are there, the liaising between the interacting between the range officers and the DFO. So this is a very crucial things, and you must know what is the pattern of the exam. Pattern of the exam for the SFS course, West Bengal Forest Service courses, this ADFO post. There is a preliminary exam. Total marks is 200. Total number of questions 200. This is the objective type of the questions, and the time required 2 and 30 minutes, and negative mark is there as per the rules of the PSC. So after qualifying this year, you should qualify this exam. Minimum 33% marks should be there in the preliminary exam. Then you go for the WBFS main exam. In the main exam, compulsory subject is the 3 that carries the 300 marks, and optional subject you have to take the option for WBS post 400 marks, and the subject is the 200 marks. Type of the question is the conventional type of the question. The candidates will select the merit basis. On the basis of the merit list will be prepared on the main examination, and West Bengal post 200 marks, Only Forest Service post 100 marks. So this is the pattern of the exam. So this is important, and from that you can clearly how is the scope in the forestry sector. I am giving the only one example in the state of the West Bengal. So there is a separate scope in other states also. But you are the domiciles of the West Bengal, so you are only eligible for the state forest service. But you are also eligible for the Indian forest services also. But the West Bengal peoples are not eligible for the Uttar Pradesh. So West Bengal peoples are eligible for the forest service in the West Bengal also. The present strength of the West Bengal forest cadres, the forest range officer is the 527 numbers of the forest officers, the forest range officers. Beat officer, deputy forest ranger, 1,226 numbers officer. This is also the good post, but forest ranger officer for the graduate people and those who starts the career with the forest range officer, they will get the better opportunity. When you enter as a state forester, you will get the more better opportunity to go your promotional career. So, lower level post is the forest guard. 2000 number is our strength is in West Bengal 2,416, and head forest category is the 213, and after that in beat officer is the 1,226, and range officer is the 526. In every year, generally used to 100 officers are generally recruited for the forest department, for the forest range officers, or in the state forest officer, other than that of the Indian Forest Service. Indian Forest Service is totally different. This is the Union Public Service Examination, Indian Forest Service Examination. In our West Bengal cadre, only the 126 Indian Forest Service persons are posted in the West Bengal cadre. The total strength is 126, starting from the PCCF to our ADFO also. And West Bengal Forest Service, that is the state officer, state officer, SFS officer, state forest officer, that is the ADFO number of the ADFO is the 126, but the present strength is 106. And during the 2020, 20 numbers of the SFS post is lastly recruited in as the SFS officer. So total strength is the in IFS course, and then if you add this one, the 252, and this is our strength of the subordinate services also. So this is from this picture you can get an idea what is the scope of the forest service in our state West Bengal, other than that of the Indian Forest Service. So these are the syllabuses of the West Bengal Forest Service syllabus that we will cover up the next times. This time is very short. And then this is about the compulsory subject. This is of the optional subject. You can take the agricultural subject also. You can take botany. You can take the geology is a very good subject. Is the marks facing subject. Geology is a very good subject. It gives a very good mark. You can take as the forestry is a good subject. In so many things, if you have an idea for the particularly the forestry aspect, I can guide you the forestry chapters also. So the forestry is a good subject for appearing the forest service examination. So now I am coming about the Indian Forest Service. That cadre is the Indian Forest Service cadre. So generally this cadre is called is the IFS cadre. The IFS cadre people generally they got the posting directly to the DFO, divisional levels. So their promotional scope is hierarchy is there from the divisional forest officer to conservator of forest after 7 years. After 3 to 4 years, they will go to the conservator, chief conservator of forest. After CCF, they will go to additional PCCF. After additional PCCF, then go for the PCCF. Then from PCCF to the PCCF and head of the forest post. That is the single post and head is the top post of this state government. Then the procedure of the IFS selection through the EPSA. This is the central cadre or union territory cadres. So plan of examination, there is again the civil service preliminary examination, and that is the objective type of the test. The selection candidate for the Indian Forest Service, those who are cleared the preliminary exam, then they are entitled for the main exam. But one thing, when you go for the main exam, then you have to, before that you have to give your cadre preference. Cadre preference is because you are belongs to the forest department. Before sitting in the main exam, you have to opt for, if your position is very good, your exam is very good, then you give the better scope. So like that of the Delhi, like that of UP cadre, like that of the others cadres also, because where the scope of the service is the more, promotional avenue is the more, you can get the more chance to do the better job. So you must give the better option during the time of the appearing the main exams. So the main examination center is a limited area in the Bhopal, Chennai, Delhi, Dispur, and you can get all these things idea in the net. So this is the institute, Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, where the IFS peoples used to go there the forest training. They will not go for the Caspos area, Barnihad. They for them IFS officer, the separate institute is there. That is Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy. This is after joining, you can get your own orderly. Even in the training period, you can get one orderly, one your or attendant also. And very tough training. You have to remain there in the 12 months in that area and 6 months in the Masuri. Other 6 months you have to visit all over the country to get an idea the whole forest things of our country. So this is the how to apply. This is the plan of examination, how to apply. You can get all these things in the net. So now next is the scope of scope. This is all about in the core sector. So Indian Forest Service, through the UPS selection, they can enter in the forestry core sector. State Forest Service, peoples also can enter in the forest sector. Range officer also can enter in the forest sector in the state government. Beat officers also, even in the forest cut also. See, gentlemen, my students, why I am telling about the beat officer. Nowadays, the PhD people used to apply in the grade 4 staff's exam. So don't think the beat officer is the very subordinate post. There is a crisis of the services in the beat officer. If you got the chance of the beat officer, you entered. After that, entry in the beat officer, you try for the forest officers, even in the IFS officer, even in the state forest officer, you appear departmentally, definitely you get the chance and you get the better scopes in the forest services or the forest range officer or the state forest officer. And don't think about the PhD and all these things, how I can do the PhD. If you can enter in the forest services, you can get a very good opportunity to the PhD if you have the hobbies, with the natural observation and so many taxonomic things are pendings are there. You can do your PhD work even in after entry in the forestry sector. I have seen so many of the IFS forest officers, even in the state forest, even myself, after getting the jobs, I did my PhD in the forestry sectors of the geology. So apart from that, you can enter in the industrial, you can apply in the industrial sector also, in the thermal power stations. I have already told in the Damodar Valley corporations, there was a 20 posts, but the recruitment is now for the time being is a staffed. In the steel plant, there is an environmental officer post. Really, environmental people used to come there. In fertilizer company and industrial factory also, in ITC company, in the sugarcane factory, in the cement factory, there is a scope of the environmental officer. Generally, they are selected, those who are the qualified, those are professionally from the Indian Institute of the Forest Management of the Bhopal or from the Ahmedabad. There is a 2 professional institute, that is the forest management. So they are selected. They are for that you have to appear the CAT examination, combined admission test. Then you get the chance in the forest management institute in the Bhopal or Ahmedabad, in some other places also. From there you can get the chance in the forest services also. You can get the better chance to enter in the industrial sector. So this is the whole the scopes of the in the forestry sector. In the state-wise, now if you can belongs to the state government of the Uttar Pradesh, you are eligible for the post of the Uttar Pradesh. Apart from that, you can also eligible for the post of the Indian Forest Service, which was organized by the Union Public Service Commission. For that, you have to give the your option which cadre you will serve. Some UP peoples may have the good rank. They opt for the state government or West Bengal government. The present CF, the present PCF is the Rajiv Sinha. He belongs to Uttar Pradesh, but he is now the PCF of the government of West Bengal. So there is a chance for the option to go in the forest service. And sometimes you can go on the deputation service in the Wildlife Institute and in the Forest Research Institute. The forest officer from the state government can be deputed for the central services also. Some quota is there. So this is about the scopes of the forest services in the core sector and industrial sector. Next, this is very, very, very challenging and important. Just I want to mention to you. The time is very short, but please, students, please see these slides, and then you can understand what the forestry is actual. So this is the after selection, you go for the induction trainings of professional forest officer at different places of India under the Dehradun. So under the Dehradun, there is a director of the Forest Institute, and there is the Indira Gandhi National Forest Area. This is purely for the Indian Forest Service College. Only the forest officer IFS candidates can go for this institute. This is the 2 years training. After that, there is the CASPOS, Central Academy of the State Forest Service Academy. There for State Forest Service officer, those who qualified for the State Forest Service qualification, they went for the CASPOS Institute for the 2 years training. And Director of Forest Education will allotted the seat, to the state government, whether they will go either Dehradun or Coimbatore or Banyar. All are same, but Dehradun is the central area. That's why you give the more facilities. And Coimbatore is the good, and Banyar is also good. These three institutes give the training for the SFS boys and the forest range officers. But the training course module is something different. For SFS course is the 2 years training, and for FRO course is the 16-month training. Earlier it was in the forest range officer 2 years training, but it's a very tough training. Another institute is that Telangana Forest Academy, that is controlled by the Telangana Forest Department, Hyderabad. They are also organizing the forest rangers. Sometimes these institutes can meet up the demand of the training. That's why the Telangana Forest Department also created another institute, the Telangana Forest Academy, where the range officers has to be sent for the training further. And another in the beat officer, there is the State Forest Service School. Every state having the State Forest Service School for refresher course and for the beat officer training or deputy forest range officer training. They underwent for the only 11 months training at their state. That is in the state level. So this is the one institute, the CASPOS Institute, and the Barnihard situated in between the Assam and Barnihard. This is a very good and pioneer institute and established in the year of 1980s. And this is the CASPOS Dehradun Institute is there. This is the building of the CASPOS. Another course is going on there. This is the very early stages of a very old photo, early batches of the photo of the State Forest Service colleges. The Barnihard photos is this is the very recent photographs of the last batches of the SFS tennis. They just pass out in the last month in the year of 1921. So after selection, after you entered in the training institute, the CASPOS Institute, you go for the very, very vigorous training. So you have to go inside the forest to study the forest floors and the botany and the flora and fauna, very details. All the botanician, you have the forest botany background or zoology background. You may not have the background of the zoology, but you have to learn the forest botany and all these things. This is the forest botanician classes in the field. After that, you can go for the forest survey training. because the forest peoples are very isolated. They do not get the support from the other person. So for that, they have to know the forest survey. So how to calculate the area, cutting, filling, road, construction in the hilly terrain area and everything. Then you have to go for the watershed management. There I used to go and taught. This is my photo. I used to interact with the people and I taught the watershed management plan. So when you go to the inside the forest area, you have to manage the watershed management plan also. So as per Indian Forest Policy Act, you have to give the watershed treatment also. So you have to know. So this is again, and you have to know the forest resource management. How you manage your forest, existing forest. So you have to take the measurement, growth of the trees by the slide calipers. Because when you know the subject, you can allot the subject work to your range officer. You can allot the work with the deputy forest rangers. Without knowing these things, if you have no knowledge, you cannot run your department. So for that, these things we have to know the forest resource management. So inside the forest, they are also with the instructors. They are inside the forest. They are serving the forest also. They are assisting the enumerating the tree also. So next, in the morning, you have to attend the yoga also. Your physics should be good and sound and robust field. So for that, you have to go for the every day morning in the yoga, and in the evening also yoga. You have to appear. So then you go for the field, and the night field practical. They have to either sit inside the forest and a little bit discussion with the foresters. So forest people generally used to start the works after 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., there are range officers and the beat officers and ADO used to sit together with the forester, and they analyze the whole day works. And this is the activity in the field activity in the forest peoples during the training period. This is the PT periods also, these things. And next, you see that you can get an opportunity to interact with the wildlife. So this is the picture of one lady officer. Is a very, very intelligent officer. You know, her name is Abhilasha Kaula. He entered into the Kun Banega Karalpati episode also, and she made with the Amitabh Bachchan also, and she entered up to 25 crores, and ultimately she quit with the 25 crores, and she is the range officer, and Amitabh Bachchan gave her designation range officer, sir, madam. Her name is the Abhilasha Rao Kala. Now she is qualified range officer and in the MP cadre. Now she is trying for the IFS examination. So he is the very dedicated forest range officer. He loved the wildlife also. This is the another photographs in the Sundarban area. The people used to visit inside the villages also for study the livelihood patterns of the rural sector. This is the lady. He is the mother of the two child, and she underwent the training and ultimately completed the training. The 16-month training, very hard training she completed, and now she joined in the Chhattisgarh cadre. So this is the forest engineering practicals. You could not get any support from the other department. So everything should know how to construct the road, how to prepare a building, everything the forester used to do in own hands. So the forest has their own infrastructure. They have their own bus. They have used to go inside the forest. This is the one batch of the forest range officers. They used to go in the for study tour visits. So there is a interaction with the DFE, Director of Forest Education, where in between the forestry training period, they interact with the faculty members and the forest persons and other resource persons, the CF and PCCF also. This is the game period. In the evening, they have to participate. That is mandatory. You have to participate. You can play or may not play, but you have to participate in the games period. That is mandatory. This is the explorations. One of the batches of the SFA students with the instructor, they are exploring the forest. This is the very microclimate zones in the area they are under the study. This is the zones where they are raised the nurseries. The personal forest chemistry also establishing the nurturing in their own hand. So inside field practicals, they are doing the forest management, forest watershed management plans. They have to do the preparation of the forest project also. And this is the forest resource analysis, stump analysis. One instructor is demonstrated how to calculate the age of the trees. By the ring of the trees, you can calculate it, the age of the trees by the stump analysis. This is the field practical. This is one of the field practical inside the forest area, and this is in the Meghalaya area, and they went the field trip also in the virgin forest area in that area. This is the one of the batches of the SFS. And they went in the study tour in the also in the Sikkim and Bhutan also. The Bhutan, this is the places of the Bhutan, and they enjoy. This is the people are enjoy with the very hard days at the Bhutan also. So this is the Sundarban area. They used to come in to study the mangrove vegetation and the Royal Bengal tigers and other habitat analysis. That is the compulsory visit in the Sundarban area. So then this is the photographs in the high altitude regions, in the Sandakphu area and the hilly regions of the Darjeeling district, where they used to trek this area. So these are the all photographs. This is the study tour in the Bhitarkanika National Park. They have to know all the habitat, all the resources of the flora and fauna of the biotic resources or the biodiversity of the particular national parks. This is their one of the field exercise they are doing in their own hand. They may be the State Forest Service candidate, the higher officer, but they have to do all these works in own hand. When they know how to do the works in own hand, then they can tackle the forest range officer and they can tackle the beat officer also. So everybody should know all types of the works also. So this is the bamboo making training is going on with the range officers training. And this is the one lady officer. He is alone creating the nursery bed. This is the training period. They have to allot the areas and they are creating their nursery bed also. This is the things. And then again inside the forest, they have to know how to prepare the suspension bridge, because in the remote area, nobody can help you in the foresters. So the forest peoples, the forest officer, range officers, and the beat officers and others, DFOs with the guidance of the DFO, they will do the suspension bridge also. So they know how to prepare in the suspension bridge also. For there, they have to send the Academy of Defense for understand how to make the suspension bridges also. So this is another type of the weapons training. You have to know for chasing with the posers. They have to know the rifle shooting. These are the range officers. They are underweight for rifle. They are giving the rifle shooting. And this is they are the SFS boys are the trained with the revolver, with a rifle short revolver shooting also. They are taking the position. You have at the end of the training, when you become a very matured one, then they go for the weapons training. And during there, after the 2 years, they are ready for the service and they are full of satisfaction. You can see in their faces. That is their expression. So even that in the training period, you have to spend the times now. You have to go for the cultural program also. This is also cultural night. Before the convocation day, they have to perform the cultural night also. So this is the convocation day. They got the service after successful completion of all the examinations, and DFE will give the certificate, and this is the certificate to which they will serve the nations also. All the lady officers and the boys are also, and now they are ready. They got the services of the they got the certificate of the State Forest Service, and someone got the honor certificate, someone got the diploma certificate, someone got the topper certificate and all-round forest certificate. You see the first photo. You can please remember that photo. In the initial stage, they have joined. At the end of the day, just you see their smartness, how they are the smart after completion of the 2 years training, how they are the smart, and they're ready for the forest services, and they are the pride of the nation, and they are ready to discharge the service in the State Department. So this is the Forest Rangers Officer Convocation. The PCCF used to came and give the honor to the successful candidates in their convocation. And this is the oath taking of the Forest Ranger officers for the discharge the service in the forestry sector. They are taking the oath in the institute. So in that day also they have given the felicitation to the instructor also by their customary of the states also. This is the Assam state. They are giving the felicitation to the instructor also, and they also this SFS balls also given the felicitation to me when I went for their to teach the watershed management aspect. So this is the last photo. In the field, they are ready. They are very smart. They know all these things. Once they have the very not matured in the student times, but after getting the service, after the training, when now they are the very smart, very lucrative, and they are ready to discharge in the forest service, which are very challenging, and they are excellent. And we are proud for this young chap for develop the nations. So this is all about our forestry. Then there is so many awards are there. The forest officer, if do the very good work, they are awarded. Sir Ramanathapuram, Tamil Nadu forest officer, S. Sita sir got the award due to this work. He is that man. And this is the man, Mahinder Giri, forest range officer, or Rajaji Tiger Reserve, is also awarded with the some forest awarded the range officer. So I appeal to the young generation. You said you just settle your mind, and you just change your attitude. If you can change your attitude, you will win, definitely win. So let's start the journey with the adventure. You need the moral support. If your parents will support at least the 2 years, so definitely you can crack the exam of the Indian Forest Service or the Range Officer Service or the state. I can definitely show, but you have to dedicatedly devote yourself 2 years and go through that subject. You can got an opportunity 6 times for the Indian Forest Service. You can get an attempt 6 times. Initial 2 times you cannot maybe crack, but after 3rd year, don't be frustrated. You need the support. We will give the support. Your friends will give the support. You ask for the time, the 2 or 3 years. You develop your attitude, and you let's start the journey. And definitely you reach one day in your target point to crack the course of the forest officers. So young generations, please try for that forest services examination, and definitely you crack. When the engineers being cracked these forest services, why not you people, the geology person, the botany person, physics person, you people are also interested, but you have to orient your mind and you have to change your attitude. Then you can crack. You try to be cracked, and try to be dedicate yourself in the reading, in the forestry, in the particularly subject, in general aptitude, general English, and general knowledge, and be bold and face it and accept the challenge, and you crack the exam, and let's start the journey. So thank you, my friends. Thank you all the participants and the Maharaj also, and thank you my students for very patiently listen my although it is a better very lengthy lectures, but you should learn now. You should think this thing. I express my deep gratitude to my seniors and emeritus professor Bulganin Mitra, who is a very enthusiastic scientist in that he has bring in that line now to interact with the people in the college also. I express my deep gratitude to Bulgarin Mitra also, and I express the thanks to also Odonova Mukherjee and Dr. Mallik also, all the faculty members who invite me as a resource person. My students are very thankful. I am very much obliged to keep patience and listen my words. Thank you and namaskar, and say good night. If you have any question or if you have any queries, I have given my personal contact number. You can contact me. But before that, you should remind me I belongs to the Ramakrishna Mission. Plus, use this word. I will open my 24 hours. Open my workshop. Be free. Please send what I know. I will convey these things. But for the professional forest career, you have to go to the professionalism. Later on, we will discuss in details about the forest policy, about the procedures and all this. And next class will be required for motivate yourself and mind setup. And this is the motivational classes. Please, I am my lecture is very lengthy. Sorry, but you come with the full mode of interest. You should. Then you can crack the exam. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the very nice lecture. It was very informative, and it will be very helpful for the students. Thank you, sir. Now, sir, so would you like to interact with the students now?
Okay, sir. I will open these things now.
Yeah.
Or chat box. So I am opening the chat box also now. If you have any question, you can write, or I have given the phone number. This is the first class. You see, gentlemen, my students, you may not understand so whole the things, but you prepare your mind and develop your attitude. Then you sit in the exam, think about the matter of the puja. You enjoy the puja days. After that, you will start your journey. Both the postgraduate student and graduate students, those who are interested for the service, they start immediately from the next year 2021 and 2022. You can appear every year. There is 100 post of the Indian Forest Service. So Indian Forest 100 post. So generally in interview, what happens now? 300 or 400 people used to call in that interview. That means your final competition is 1:4. So please.
It's okay. If there is any question from the students, you can interact with sir.
Okay, no problem. If anybody have question, I try to give the answer. Okay.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Yes. Continue.
Sir, you tell us the forest is much more important for daily life, as well as the various types of animal which we found from forest. They are much more important for our life because they maintain the balance of the food chain and ecosystem.
Yes.
So, sir, my question is, how can we maintain the balance of those?
Oh, balance of those means here the forest and yes, please. Pardon me.
Sir. আমি স্যার বলতে চাইছি যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে যে মানে ফরেস্ট মানে আমরা যে ফরেস্টটা মানে আর কি কনজার্ভ করছি এবং আমরা যে প্রাণীগুলোও যে কনজার্ভ করছি এই যে মানে আমাদের যেমন লাইফে যেমন ফরেস্টটাও ইম্পর্টেন্ট তেমন আমাদের প্রাণীগুলোকেও ইম্পর্টেন্ট কারণ তারা ফুড চেনটাকে বা ইকোসিস্টেমটাকে মেনটেন করছে। তো আমি স্যার বলতে চাইছি এই ফরেস্টের সাথে এই প্রাণী বা আমাদের যে ইকোসিস্টেমটাকে আছে এই মেনটেন করার ব্যাপারটা এই দুটো জিনিসকে কিভাবে মেনটেন করব?
আচ্ছা, very good question. So what happens, where the wild animals take the shelter, generally inside the forest, where the dense forest is there, food availability is there, the wild animals remains their shelter. They have the particular habitats. So but when their habitats are degraded, habitats are fragmented, these wild animals come into the locality. So they are getting the disturbance, they are insecure inside the forest, with the forest poachers and other forest dwellers are disturbing the wild animals, and that's why they are scarcity of the food. That's why ওরা কিন্তু চলে আসছে আমাদের গ্রামের দিকে, scarcity of the food এবং habitat losses জন্য। সুতরাং আমাদের ফরেস্টারদের সবসময় দেখতে হবে যাতে অভয়ারণ্য কাকে বলে, যেখানে নির্ভয়ে বাঘ ভাল্লুক থেকে আরম্ভ করে সাপ থেকে আরম্ভ এনি টাইপ অফ অ্যানিমেলস যেন থাকতে পারে। দ্যাটস মিনস ফরেস্টের ভিতরে যে কোর জোন আছে, বাফার জোন আছে, কোর জোন আছে, স্যাংটাং স্যাংটোরিয়াম আছে, তিনটে আছে। আওয়ার স্যাংটাং স্যাংটোরিয়াম and core zone should not be disturbed. Buffer zone you can do some manipulation of the words, but the poachers and the smugglers and other forests cannot be entered in the core zone area and Sanctum Sanctorium. If the core zone and the Sanctum Sanctorium will be disturbed, then they automatically come in the villages and then automatically will attack the peoples also. Then that means their food chain is disturbing. The food habit is losing inside the forest. The habitat is losses. The fragmentation, due to the fragmentation, habitat is lost. Food is not available. That's why they're coming inside. So for that, this is the task of the forester. This is the task of the forest officer. So to create the better ambience, the better environment and protection and conservation inside the forest. Don't allow the wildlife inside the villages. So then the automatically village will be disturbed. Sometimes it may be caused because if they get the taste, here is the food is available in the Sundarbans area. They knows the food is available. Due to the scarcity of the food, they come to the villages also. Some other wild animals, the deers, and so that's why you have to manage your habitats. You have to release the more deer. You have to manage the habitat also. You have to maintain the ecological food chain inside the forest, so they should not come inside the forest. Okay, you got my point?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you learned. So you see, gentlemen, you are very learner stage. Na? When you go to the forest, then you can understand. So that's why the vigorous training is required. This training is very beautiful. I can share my experience, or you can get any exposure when you go to the forest. You can meet with the forest officer, beat officer. They can tell the story. Na? They can show all these things. If you show the interest, they can show all these things. The forester generally used to show all this activity because they do not get exposure with the other peoples. Now when they get the exposure of the you peoples, now they will tell all these things, and definitely you will be interested. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Sir, can you please provide your
Hello,
email
sir.
ID and contact
Yes,
number?
yes. My student, in the first slide, I have depicted my email number and phone number. In the first slide, you just write down NARAYAN, 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 CH SAHA, SAHA, SAHA @gmail.com. Okay. Shall I write here? Okay. Shall I write? Okay, I am writing.
Yes, sir. You can write it in chat box.
Okay. Any question? Someone questions, sir, how to?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Sir, I'm a student of zoology and VC college.
Huh.
So my question is that can you recall the eligibility for physical, that physical handicaps, because few of students we are a high myopia patient, and especially for me, I have a high myopia.
Okay.
So is that eligible for the test?
So you gentlemen, I have not shown this details of this. Although in my slide I kept all these things. Sir told me that. So some other days I will take the another classes of the UPSC syllabus and all the eligibility test and myopia and details. All this. You search out these things in the Indian Forest Service examination. You just write in Google and search out. You can get the answer. There is some eligibility test is there. Just you go through that with that things na vouchers na, you can got it in the Google Mails. But in the small things for no need, if you have the vision problems, then they may be there is some relaxation. There is some because some physically handicapped persons in the forestry department. I don't know whether they after the service. I don't know. After the service, they have developed the physically handicapped. That's why they are continuing the service. But you go through that vouchers of this Indian Forest Service. You type in the Indian Forest Service eligibility, all these things, you get all these things. Or if you don't get, you just email it. You give your email number. I'll send it through by email. I have the soft copy. I have the hard copy and the soft copy in my computer. So I'll send it. Please go through.
Okay, sir.
If I have given the mail number, directly contact me. I will send it. I will forward it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. If there's any more question, you can go for the email of sir. Okay. So
I have given the email number.
Yes. You can just email sir, so you will get the answers. Okay. Thank you very much.
So
now
one thing
I request. Yes, sir. Continue. So please continue.
Now, so don't think I am a student of geology, I am the student of botany, I am a student of the physics of the. Even you can take the subject of the geology. Now, geology is a very good subject. It's a score marks facing subject. You can take the geology and the botany also. You can take the other subject of also environmental sciences also. Because so many of the engineers now they have taken the subject as one of the subject as the environmental science. You can take the environmental science, you can take the geology also, you take the forestry subject, you take the botany also. There is no hard and fast. Because first things, you love the subject. You love the subject and you go through the 2 years, not a 2 years means the time 365 days into 2. That means 700 something days is there. So if you divide, multiply into 224 hours, so you cannot devote the 24 hours throughout the years. So if you can devote the 10 hours or 12 hours per day, so during the honors period, now you are dedicating the 10 hours, 8 hours. Even in my engineering and medical professional students, they are devoting themselves the 10 hours per day. So if you devote your 10 hours or 8 hours per day, the last 2 years, definitely you can crack the subject. You can crack your optional subject. You can crack your subject. And then question is raised, whether you will be selected in the interview or not. You may fail in the interview. Don't problem. One of my students, in the SFS batch, she told, she is the lady officer in that batch. She is the topper. He is now posted at the Kanyakumari. She is a young officer. She told me one day that day by phone, sir, I have appeared the 2 times, 3 times in the UPSC examination, but every time I failed in the interview. That time I am frustrated. But again, I am appeared in the State Forest Service examination in Tamil Nadu, and immediately I got the service. Now she is happy. After doing the SFS training, she will do the 6 years of service. After that, she will get the Indian Forest Service cadre. So if you fail, don't be disheartened, don't be disheartened. You need the support. Your parents should be support, your teacher should be support, others should be support. You dedicated yourself, because in the PhD also now you are dedicating for the 3 years and 4 years. I'm not discouraging for the PhD. All PhD. I'm not discouraging for the PhD. PhD you can do, but you can ultimately you have to go for the service. By the PhD, you can go for the Scholar Service Commission or the research. You can earn the money. So in the forest service, you can earn the money. But in the forest service, if you have the hobby, you have the passion, you can get the opportunity to do the PhD work, and automatically PhD will come in course of time also in the running period. So you can do the PhD. I did my PhD after in service training. If you have the very willpower, if you have the strong powers, even in the after service, so many people after completion of the MA, they entered as a professorship. After that, they did the PhD. So why should you not do the PhD after getting the services in the forest? So definitely you can get the scope now. You have the background of the geology, botany, other subject also. Even in the agricultural crops, also in the forest crop, in the joint forest management, environmental management, you can do the PhD work. So if you have the interest, you can crack it, you can do the PhD also. But you need my appeal is 2 years or 1.5 years, you have to dedicate yourself to crack the exam. And then the full life you enjoy, 36 years, you will be the monarch of the nature. So many of the facilities, beautiful facilities are there in the forestry service. Now actually our policy has been changed. So earlier there is a revenue earning department, forest department is a revenue earning. Now you are towards the approach towards the forest department approach towards the conservation. Only for the don't go for the revenue earning. You go for the only for the conservation part. Conservation of the flora, conservation of the fauna, conservation of the tribal resources, and all the resources on sustainable basis. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now I request Dr. Shubhajit Maiti of our department to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Okay, I have one question. You please, student, are you satisfied? Are you satisfied with my first class? Can I get the feedback from the students? I generally used to ask from the students my feedback.
Yes, sir.
Because I tried my level best to give
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay, now it's time
yes,
for
sir.
the vote of thanks.
Yes. Yes.
So it's time for the vote of thanks. So it is
Okay,
indeed my
okay.
great pleasure
Continue, please.
to convey the vote of thanks to you, sir, on behalf of the Department of Zoology and on behalf of this whole college, Rohra Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, West Bengal State University. We are highly, highly grateful, thankful, and indebted to you, sir, for this motivating and enlightening lecture to motivate these students for various aims, scope, perspectives, and prospects of forest services in India. We get to know that India is one of the first countries in the world to have stated scientific management of its forests. And we get to realize after this motivating talk that the importance, the underlying importance of a multi-tier forest administration in the federal and provincial governments for effective management of forest resources. We get to know the managerial measures adopted for protecting the natural resources of the earth, the living organisms, that is both plants and animal-based living organisms, and thereby their protection. I mean the importance, the protection from the misuse and from the decay, the importance of the protection from the misuse and from the decay of those living organisms. So once again, thank you, sir. Thank you, Zoology Department, for this enlightening lecture. Thank you all.
Thank you.
For
Thank
the
you. Enjoy the
participation.
festivals. Enjoy the festivals. Please.
Have a great Pujo and happy Navaratri.
Yes, happy Navaratri.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's all right. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
So with that, we conclude our program today. Thank you, everyone. Good night and have a very good Durga Puja. Thank you.